Mexico's President Claudia Sheinbaum has confirmed that her government will send humanitarian aid to Cuba, while she continues negotiations with U.S. President Donald Trump over the oil restrictions Washington has imposed on the island. Speaking in Michoacán on Friday, Sheinbaum said Mexico is preparing to move quickly. "We are planning to send this aid, if not this weekend, then on Monday at the latest," she told reporters. "It is mainly food and some other supplies that they have requested." Sheinbaum explained that her administration is actively engaging Washington in an effort to restart oil shipments to Cuba. Mexico stopped sending crude and refined petroleum products to the island in mid-January, after pressure from the Trump administration. She made clear that Mexico is walking a careful diplomatic line. "Obviously, we don't want sanctions against Mexico," she said, referring to Washington's warning that it may impose tariffs on countries that attempt to bypass its energy restrictions. Her comments came shortly after President Trump signed an executive order declaring Cuba's government an unusual and extraordinary threat to the United States, a move that triggered a national emergency declaration. In the order, the White House stated that Cuba's government aligns itself with and provides support for numerous hostile countries, transnational terrorist groups, and malign actors adverse to the United States, naming Russia, China, Iran, Hamas, and Hezbollah. Officials argued that these actions constitute an unusual and extraordinary threat to U.S. national security and foreign policy, requiring immediate response to protect American citizens and interests. Trump pointed to human rights abuses in Cuba, political persecution, restrictions on freedom, and the ongoing migration crisis as reasons for tightening pressure. He also highlighted Havana's ties with Moscow, Beijing, and Tehran. As part of the executive action, the administration pledged to impose tariffs on any country that provides any oil to Cuba, either directly or indirectly. Despite rising tensions, Cuba's Foreign Minister Bruno Rodriguez signaled a willingness to cooperate. He wrote on X that Cuba is willing to reactivate and expand bilateral cooperation with the U.S. The pressure campaign intensified after political upheaval in Venezuela disrupted oil shipments to Cuba. With Nicolás Maduro no longer supplying subsidized fuel, Havana lost a crucial source of energy. Venezuela had long supported Cuba's economy with discounted oil. After those shipments stopped, Cuba's energy crisis deepened. Now Mexico has stepped into a more central role. As one of the few regional partners capable of supplying oil, Mexico has become a key lifeline for the island, which relies heavily on imports to power its electricity grid and transportation system. President Trump has argued publicly that changes in Venezuela could contribute to the fall of Cuba's government, citing its dependence on external oil supplies.
Cuba is a failing nation, and you have to feel badly for Cuba. They've treated people very badly. We have a lot of Cuban Americans who really were treated very badly, and they'd probably like to go back. And no, I'm not trying to, but it looks like it's something that's just not going to be able to survive. I think Cuba will not be able to survive.
On January 28, 2026, Secretary of State Marco Rubio testified before the U.S. Senate Committee on Foreign Relations about U.S. policy toward Venezuela. During that hearing, Rubio acknowledged that the administration seeks political change in Cuba and suggested that lifting the long-standing embargo would depend on such a transformation. At the same time, the U.S. State Department announced that it would provide an additional $6 million in humanitarian aid to Cuba, adding to $3 million already pledged. Officials said the assistance would go directly to Cuban citizens through the Catholic Church and Caritas. The shipments include rice, beans, pasta, canned tuna, and solar lamps. The department stated that it will transport the supplies from Miami and distribute them through local parish representatives. This method has proven highly effective at ensuring that the failed Cuban regime cannot interfere with or divert assistance intended for the island's needy population, said senior State Department official Jeremy Lewin. The department issued a warning as well. The regime must not make any effort to interfere with the provision of this life-saving support, the statement said. We remain vigilant in tracking any diversion or frustration of U.S. assistance efforts, and the regime will be accountable to the United States and its own people for any interference. Officials added that the United States stands ready to expand support if conditions allow. Beyond this tranche of assistance, the United States stands ready to surge even greater direct support to the Cuban people. The corrupt regime must simply permit it, the statement continued. Cuba's Deputy Foreign Minister, Carlos Fernández de Cosío, criticized Washington's approach. He called the move contradictory, quite hypocritical to apply draconian coercive measures denying basic economic conditions to millions, and then to announce soup and cans for a few, he wrote on social media. Lewin responded sharply to the criticism. He said Cuba's leadership should prioritize its citizens instead of political rhetoric. They should be focused on providing for their people, not making these blustery statements, Lewin said. He can talk a big game, but again, any government, its first responsibility is always to provide for its people. As Mexico prepares its aid shipment and Washington maintains pressure, Cuba remains caught between diplomatic maneuvering and a worsening energy crisis. That's all for now from Global Pulse Unplugged. Stay sharp, stay informed, and we'll see you next time.